What's up? How's it going? I have a really fun experiment to do today and share with you. This is going to be quite interesting. Basically, I just want to show you how you can be buying every raw food recipe book on the planet and you never really know what you're getting. That's why I personally am really about being high integrity, so that when you see what you get, that's what you get, right? So I'm taking a famous recipe. I'm taking a recipe from a well-known author and raw food book. I'm not going to mention which one or who. I just wanted to show you how this kind of cracked me up. When I looked at this recipe, I personally have never made any recipe out of any book ever. I've actually been inspired by some books, mostly cooked recipes, going online, searching for this type of recipe, that type of recipe, different cultural stuff, and then finding, cooked versions and creating raw ones. But, and I've done it a few times with raw books, looked at it, got some ideas. I looked at this recipe, and I'm like, there's no way that this could turn out like onion bread. Okay, so I'm gonna do this onion bread recipe right now, and I'm gonna actually, in my opinion, I feel like I'm gonna be actually making onion rings. So let's see. This is gonna be a little fun. This is an experiment here, and I also want to see where I'm at as far as looking at a recipe and just gauging how it will turn out just by reading it. I'm quite certain that I'm correct here. So what the recipe calls for is 3 large onions. So what I'm going to do, there's 3 large onions that we placed into a food processor with a slicing part, like attachment, and we sliced it. You can also chop, into rings as well if you don't have a food processor. So I am going to do exacts, except for a couple things. There's one part of the recipe that calls for nama shoyu, and for onion rings I don't really want to have that nama shoyu flavor, so I'm using water, and that will, as far as a comparison of putting a liquid nama shoyu and using water instead, so it'll get the same results as far as the actual recipe. So at that point I'm going to add salt. Once we get to that place, I just want to show you that it's probably not going to make bread. And if you put it out on the dehydrator sheet, I'm quite certain it won't be a bread. If it is, if I'm wrong, awesome. And hats off. But I don't think that that's going to be the case. So the recipe calls for, and I'm not going to have it read because I have my apprentice over here standing in the background and he won't be on camera. So can you hold it up to me? T-Live? Cool. So what it calls for is the 3 onions sliced, right, in a food processor. So then it says to take 3/4 of a cup of ground sunflower seeds. So I grinded it in a food processor with an S-blade. And of course, first I soaked the sunflower seeds, then I re-dehydrated them until they were completely dry, and then grounded them in a food processor with an S-blade and making a fine, meal. So it says to, at this point, add all other ingredients into the bowl with the onions. So we're gonna just do that. I'm gonna add the ingredients. I'm gonna actually mix up the onions a little bit so it does evenly go. But remember, this is supposed to form a bread by doing this. And I'll be very, very surprised, impressed, and interested if it creates a bread. But I do think it's going to create an amazing onion rings. And in the end, it also says to put 1/3 cup of olive oil. And I am going to change it a little bit in the end because I want it to be my recipe. So it says 1/2 cup of water, it says 1/2 cup of nama shoyu, but we're using water like I stated before. And then it also says to use 3/4 of a cup of flax. I'm using golden flax. It says ground, of course, ground flax or flax meal. I'm gonna use golden instead of regular. I just like the flavor's not as bitter, it's not as strong. I mean, as you can see already, like these are the ingredients that it says, you know? And I already know that this is not gonna form into a bread, right? I mean seriously. Like it says at this point, hold it up to me, buddy. Don't take a picture of this over here, because we wanna, you know, definitely respect. So basically it says to blend all this together and then lay it out into the dehydrator, spread it like a bread. There's no effing way that that's turning into a bread, right? Do I have any other opinions in the background? What do you think?
Looks like onion rings to me.
Does it look like bread at all? Is there any bread consistency to that? Hey Erica, let me see if my baby will come in here and give her opinion. Hey, can you come give your opinion on camera for this or not? Just peek in, and you don't have to stick your face on the camera. I don't know if she's camera ready right now, but she's not. So just okay, I'm gonna cover. So peek, look in the bowl. Does that look like bread to you?
That's not bread.
Does it look more like onion rings?
That's onion rings.
Hey, cool. So this is where we're gonna change it a little bit. Since we didn't add the namashoyo, and we need salt, obviously, for onion rings or bread, I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon salt. I might add a little more. We'll see once I actually get it mixed up really well. I think it's probably gonna take more. T-Live, can you go over and grab me some of those, oh never mind, don't worry about it. I was gonna use my wooden hands, which are really nice. Maybe you can grab them. I think they're in the second drawer right there. I don't need you to hold the book anymore, T-Live. Just to, maybe just hold them out so people can see them. See those? Those are really awesome for stirring like salads. I also like to really just get my hands in there, you know, get the love into the food and, you know. Now, I think these are gonna make some pretty awesome onion rings. They could have a little bit more breading, you know, a little bit more of that type of mixture into it. But we're just gonna, because I wanted to see what would happen, we're just gonna leave them like this. And there's gonna be definitely, obviously, some type of breading, some type of when they dehydrate, it's gonna definitely form some type, at least a little bit of breading on them. Not so it won't just be like dehydrated onions. So T-Lab, can you grab a Teflex and bring it over here? The one on top, right there. There's one very, very top, yeah. Now grab a Paraflex, or Teflex, also known as Teflex. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay these out. We're gonna spread it out and make bread. No, the bread just ain't happening here. You know, this is definitely gonna be more of an onion ring type consistency. You know, the breading, not like the breading aspect of it, you know, is definitely not bread. It's more, I would say, more onion ring style. So cool. So, you know, like that's just, I just wanted to do a little experiment, and thank you for watching. And you know, I just thought it would be entertaining, a little fun, and be careful about what books you buy, because you never know, you might get recipes that don't turn out like they're supposed to. I guess you can never tell, so. Love you guys. Yeehaw. Adios.